but we'll take the call. Here we are, we stand as one.
It's time to take our chance.
For we have just begun.
Feel it, look inside, find the meaning. Answer the call, you hear it. Believe in your heart and grow. Succeed it, work together on healing. Face the challenge, we'll beat it. Hold on, watch your dreams unfold.
You can fly around the world, making dreams come true.
Opening minds and changing views, yeah.
You can wake up in a city that doesn't sleep but beats.
With the heart of an angel, watching over me. Feel it, look inside, find the meaning. Answer the call, you hear it. Believe in your heart and grow. Succeed it, work together on healing. Face the challenge, we'll beat it. Hold on, watch your dreams unfold.
You can weather the storm, you can weather the pain. When life is uncertain, you can make it your way. Dream of sailing the ocean, dream of walking through trees. You can feel the sun bringing harmony.
Look inside, find the meaning. Answer the call, you hear it. Believe in your heart and grow. Succeed it, work together on healing. Face the challenge, we can beat it. Hold on, watch your dreams unfold. Feel it, look inside, find the meaning. Answer the call, you hear it. Believe in your heart and grow. Succeed it, work together on healing. Face the challenge, we'll beat it. Hold on, watch your dreams unfold. Work together, we can beat it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? Oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Hello, Virtuosos, and welcome to our broadcast. This is our first ever virtual Virtuoso Travel Week, or as we like to call it, Virtualoso. Actually, I might be the only one who likes to call it that, but I think it's catching on. It's very exciting to be here together with all of you, even if we can't really be together. And now here to join me, kick off the festivities from a socially distant, secure location around the virtual world, please welcome Matthew Upchurch.
Thanks, David. I also want to welcome everyone to the opening session. I am so glad to have you all here with us today. Thank you for joining us and for your dedication and commitment to our network, which is powered by genuine human connection. Also, thank you for embracing this new way of connecting with each other for the first time, as we once again innovate and work to set new standards. And now, David, you're going to be our host today, right?
Yeah, this is a first for me, hosting a virtual event, and hosting at what is really a difficult time for our industry. But I know we have a very strong lineup of speakers and relevant content, so I think everyone watching will come away energized and with some real optimism about where the Virtuoso Network is headed.
So I guess I'm officially passing the mic to you.
Okay.
Use it well.
Is that on? Can you hear me? Hello?
Now, let's hear from one of our valued partners, our first opening session sponsor, Gary Murphy of AmaWaterways.
Where is everybody? Matthew, it's Gary, AmaWaterways. I'm here at the Bellagio. Where is everybody? Harvey?
Gary, what are you doing here?
I'm here for Virtuoso.
Yeah, but it's virtual this year.
Got like a giant Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
Hello, Virtuoso Travel Advisors. Thank you for joining us today. Joking aside, yes, we all do wish we were together at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, but we're together now virtually. AmaWaterways, when we started this company 18 years ago, We did it with very conservative business practices. Rudy, from the early stages, didn't want to have any debt. And now we have 23 ships cruising the rivers of the world debt-free, which puts us in a very strong position to manage through this process. It allows us to fully engage with you and our entire team. Christine, hello there. Virtually hello.
Gary. Hello, and to all of you at Virtuoso. First of all, I want to thank you for awarding AmaWaterways for 8 years in a row with the title Best River Cruise Line. That means so much to us, and it's a big commitment, and we want to move forward with this. So I'm so excited to tell you that our Ama Christina started cruising on the Rhine River on July 5 again. So that's now 1 month. It's a charter for a German company, but we are in the waters, putting our health and safety protocols into place and into perfection. And of course, we also give employment to our crew members again. Very, very important for all of us. So you see here our lounge. We have dividers with plexiglass. We can wear the social distance all over the place. We are cruising with less than 100 guests. We are offering a new room service menu where you can enjoy dining in the privacy of your cabin, on the balcony, seeing the beautiful castles, vineyards, passing by while enjoying a delicious glass of wine. So from here, Gary, I give it back to you or to Janet.
Now we have to, Janet, how is your marketing team staying engaged with our Virtuoso Travel Advisors?
Hi, Gary, and hi, Virtuoso Travel Advisors. You have 100% of AmaWaterways marketing team dedicated to you. So please use us. And if you have any questions ever on what marketing support we have available to you, please contact us at askmarketing@AmaWaterways.com. Again, that's askmarketing@AmaWaterways.com.
Thank you very much, Janet. Alex, I know we have our entire BDM team in place, but share with the Virtuoso Travel Advisors how we're working with them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. Hi, Virtuosos. Yep, your dedicated AmaWaterways sales team is intact, and your 16 local business development managers in the US and Canada are eagerly waiting to hear from you. They want to stay engaged, connected, and they want to help you grow your business, and they want to help you with all of your sales and marketing efforts, your virtual cruise nights and events, training, webinars, and so much more. But we do want to invite you to visit AmaWaterways.com/Virtuoso, and that is your dedicated landing page where you will find all things Virtuoso, your exclusive programs, as well as all of our wonderful retail offers and so much more. So again, enjoy the rest of your conference, and we can't wait to see you.
I'm so excited, Alex, because I know how many of you, our Virtuoso partners, have done these virtual cruise nights with us. And I see so many new bookings and group bookings coming. So thank you for this. We cannot wait to welcome you again.
Yeah, stay engaged with our sales team. These virtual cruise nights, we have offers only available during these virtual cruise nights, and they are driving sales. Please go to Destination Training as part of this conference and get a full update on the Amadalia. The Amadalia is selling extremely well. Our new ship in Egypt starting sailing September next year. But again, reach out and stay engaged. So now from the rest of our team, wanted to recognize our appreciation for Virtuoso.
Thank you for making our phones ring, Virtuoso.
On behalf of everyone from AmaWaterways, Virtuosos, we are here to support you.
Greetings, Virtuoso Travel Advisors. This is your amazing AmaWaterways marketing team. Thank you again and hope to see you all on board very, very soon.
We look forward to welcoming your clients
back to the rivers.
So from all of us at AmaWaterways, thank you for sharing your time with us. We're glad to be part of this conference. Alex, Christine, Janet, great to see you virtually. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. We love you,
Virtuoso. Love you, Virtuoso.
We're sure buying you guys some cocktails at Lily's tonight. Next year, I'll run a tab.
Thank you, Gary and AmaWaterways, Rudy, Christine, and the whole AmaWaterways team. Thank you for your partnership over all these years and all you do for us. And now, back to David, our host.
So next up is Jennifer Campbell, Product Manager, Network Engagement here at Virtuoso. Jennifer has played a key role in the creation of our virtual Virtuoso Travel Week, and she's going to share what you can expect over the next few days with regard to opening session today, professional development, and the one-on-one appointments for all of you who are participating in them. So with that, turning it over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you, David, and hi, y'all. I'm excited to give you an overview of this week. First, I want to thank you for leaning into our new virtual experience. I know we've all certainly experienced more change this year than we had planned, but sometimes good things come from change. For example, you're probably not freezing to death right now as you would be in the ballroom at the Bellagio. I hope that you're comfortable, relaxed, and excited about our time together. First, here's an overview of the opening session. You'll be hearing from Gloria Guevara, the head of the World Travel and Tourism Council. David Kollner will be sharing some proprietary business insights and probably a bit of humor. And Albert Herrera is hosting a panel of industry insiders. No VTW opening session would be complete without inspiration from our CEO and Chairman, Matthew Upchurch. And then later today, I encourage you to join Jessica Upchurch and her guests at our sustainability event, Under One Sky, to learn about a conscious comeback. I do want to tell you about a few other reminders for the week and about a few surprises that you may not even be aware of. As a reminder, we created this event based on your feedback. So for our wonderful friends in other parts of the world where day is night and night is day, you can participate in the parts of the week that work for you. We made sure to offer at least 1 or 2 sessions that are time zone appropriate for everyone. And for those that can't participate live, a reminder that you can watch the recording at your leisure. Another thing to note is that in light of the pandemic affecting our industry, we are pausing awards for this year. Instead, we recognize and thank all of you for your work and what you're doing to survive, and we'll be back with awards next year. Now let's talk about what we do have for this week. One thing we've learned about virtual events is the need to have someone to ground you and tell you how things are going to work. As you may have noticed on the agenda for today, Master Communicator Jill Schiffelbein will be starting each day with a jumpstart segment that will frame the day for you by letting you know what's on the agenda and give you a business tip that you can use immediately. She'll then wrap up each day with a human touch segment that highlights you, our amazing network. These are agenda items and can easily be added to your schedule. Our popular professional development classes and our destination and brand trainings are available 24/7 during the event. And this is one of those surprises that I mentioned. All of the classes will be available for another 30 days after the event, only for you as VTW attendees. So you can watch them at your convenience in the coming weeks. We have 20 professional development classes from world-renowned presenters. One of our most popular VTW speakers and beloved Aussie, Neen James, hand-curated the classes by reaching out to her friends and colleagues. And she told each of the speakers about our network and asked them to provide up-to-the-moment, relevant advice and guidance for you right now. We have over 30 destination and brand trainings available. This is one of the positive changes that I mentioned from our in-person event. We could previously only offer 12 classes. And both the professional development classes and the brand training classes are easy to bookmark and add to your schedule. And then there's networking. You got what you asked for, longer appointments and the ability to handpick all of your appointments. With up to 106 10-minute appointments over 4 days, the ability to let you customize your sales focus seems timely. The great thing about our event platform is that many of you are still requesting appointments, and you can do that throughout the week to maximize your connections. This is easy to do even now in the app, so please go in and make the most of your schedule. One thing that you'll likely miss during the appointments is that voice saying, "Please move to your next appointment." Or maybe you won't miss it, but just like when you're in Las Vegas in person, we do ask that you be respectful of each other's time and appointments. Here's another surprise. We know how important it is for you to connect with the Virtuoso team and our colleagues throughout the week, so we'll be offering various pop-ups every day after networking. Things like Q&A sessions with our teams, with various speakers and industry leaders. Jill will highlight these pop-up sessions in her Jumpstart video every day, and they'll also be on the agenda. And yet one more fun surprise, because fun is part of VTW. We have a virtual photo booth. You can be creative about your photos, and from the looks of Facebook and Instagram, you're already specialists at taking a selfie. Well, folks, before I wrap up, I do want to encourage you to join our first ever closing session on Thursday. We have an amazing keynote in Sheila Johnson, the first Black female billionaire, an entrepreneur, and the CEO of Salamander Hotels and Resorts, a Virtuoso preferred partner. So thank you for being here. Enjoy the week, the value of connections, and our own virtual family reunion. So let's get into it. Virtuoso CEO Matthew Upchurch recently talked with Gloria Guevara, head of the World Travel and Tourism Council. They covered a lot of ground in a short time, touching on many topics that are no doubt on all of our minds right now. So take it away, Matthew.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thanks for the awesome job you're doing for all of us. Before I share my conversation with Gloria, I wanted to set the stage a bit. Virtuoso has been a proud member of WTTC for many years. For any of you not familiar with WTTC, they are the global organization representing the private sector in the travel and tourism industry. They do extensive research in partnership with Oxford Economics on the economic impact of our industry, raising awareness of the value of travel and its contribution to the world. They work closely with governments all around the world, which has never been more important than it is today. I highly recommend that you visit their website to learn more about their work and resources, especially at this time. Now, Gloria was formerly Secretary of Tourism of Mexico, and we worked together when she held that role. So I was really pleased when she was named President and CEO of WTTC. She has a brilliant mind and is a tireless leader with excellent ideas to share on how WTTC can help contribute to consumer confidence and spur a travel recovery. So now let's hear the conversation I had with her for this opening session. Well, thank you for joining us here, Gloria. It's so great to have you. I know we have a very short period of time, so let's just jump right into it. You know, one of the reasons I've always been so supportive of WTTC is because of the frustration we've always had in our industry about governments and the press and people not fully understanding the scope and size and impact of travel and tourism. So can you remind us some of those facts and kind of tell us what's going on with the impact of this horrible pandemic?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Matthew. It's an honor and a pleasure to join you today virtually, especially because a year ago I was physically in your event. So great to be back. Yes, travel and tourism contributes to 10% of the global GDP. We employ 330 million people. That's 1 of 10. And it was very important for the last 9 consecutive years, the growth of travel and tourism has outpaced the growth of the economy. And of course, last year was not an exception, 3.5% versus 2.5%. Very important from all the jobs created around the world in all the sectors and all the industries for the last 5 years, 1 out of 4 were in travel and tourism. That speaks about the contribution in job creation. Now, unfortunately, we're living a crisis totally unprecedented, and the impact started 50 million jobs, there's 75, and currently 121 million jobs have been impacted. Globally, $2.7 trillion is the loss, and that number can grow if we don't do the right thing.
Wow. So we went from April from 100 million to July 121?
We went from 50, 75, and 121 is the last number. And that number can go all the way to 197 if we don't do the right thing, if we don't follow the best path.
Wow. Do you feel that governments, though, have actually now understand a little bit better about the impact of travel and tourism on their economies?
I think they are understanding finally the contribution of travel and tourism. As you know, we work with 185 countries around the world, some more than others, but it's still, we need to have a lot of coordination among the most important economies to get this right.
And also, you know, one of the things that we know as travel advisors, particularly, and on our whole network was that it's not just a virus issue, right? It's also an issue of travelers losing confidence that they're going to be stranded, that they're going to be quarantined, that things are going to happen, so talk about the lack of coordination and the effect it's having, and what are some of the lessons learned, and what are some of the things that WTTC is trying to do to alleviate that?
Absolutely. There are 4 things that we have said. Those are the 4 principles for the recovery, and those are based on lessons learned. The first one is the coordinated approach. That is crucial for reopening borders, removing barriers. Like, for instance, if a country decides to open and nobody knows and they don't coordinate with the private sector, is very complicated. Or if they decide to open and later impose quarantines of 14 days, that creates a lot of uncertainty. We need to have a coordinated approach, similar to what we had in 2008. That's the lesson learned, where we were able to have a V-shaped recovery around 18 months after the financial crisis, thanks to that coordination, public and private, and also among the G20 countries. Second point is the protocols. Very important, another lesson learned from 9/11, that countries work on silos and they define their own screening and safety protocols at airports. And that impacted the recovery and, of course, the confidence of the traveler. It took us years to recover after 9/11, 4 years in average globally. And that's why the importance of the protocols, have the same experience globally. And that's what we work with our members to define those protocols and have exactly the same experience so that we can rebuild trust from the traveler faster. Third lesson learned is that from SARS, MERS, and Ebola, for instance, very important outbreaks, we were able to travel without a vaccine. Why was that? Because we were able to isolate the sick people. So we believe testing is very important, especially because 80% are asymptomatic. So we need to isolate the sick people. So we are talking about testing, contact tracing throughout the journey so that we can go back to some sort of new normal. And while we wait for the vaccine, we can be traveling. And last one but not least is to continue to have the support to this important sector because of the jobs that depend on this sector. More than 100 million jobs have been impacted, and those are livelihoods that we need to bring back as soon as possible with the recovery.
I know that one of the issues that's always been a problem is how governments or the financial press or people don't fully actually count travel and tourism's impact appropriately. So tell us a little bit about that. I think that's something that we all need. What are the statistics that we as members of the travel and tourism industry need to constantly remember to share with anybody that needs to know?
Well, we need to communicate with the governments in every time that we have an opportunity that 1 out of 10 jobs depend on our sector and 10% of the global GDP, 10% of the economy. But very important is also the domino effect. Because, for instance, every time that you pay a hotel, the bill of the hotel is not only the bill of the hotel, it's also the fruit that they purchase in the morning for the breakfast, the coffee. It's the entire ecosystem that is impacted. And we need to consider the entire ecosystem, the travel agencies, the distributors, the coffee shops, absolutely everyone that depends on that traveler that visits a hotel or a cruise or takes a flight, whatever is the case. That is very important. 1 out of 10 jobs, 10% of the global GDP, that's our contribution. And as I say before, from the last jobs created is 1 out of 4, which talks about 50% women, 30% youth. The diversity of the sector is also very important.
So that's a very important political perspective, right? That the diversity. I've also heard in the past that one of the other things that's fairly strong about travel and tourism is the velocity of the spend in a country, right? That tourism dollars actually go through the economy much faster than a lot of other industries. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate because every dollar that you spend has a social impact, has not only an impact on the economy, on the jobs, but also helps to reduce poverty, helps to provide education. And there are multiple examples. For instance, just one example, the city of Amsterdam, the public transportation, 30% of that is paid by the tourists. If you don't have tourists, you don't pay for that. And in that case, we have many others, especially in the islands or countries where the GDP and the contribution for tourism is greater than 50%. You can imagine it's more significant. So the social impact is also very relevant. And of course, the sustainability impact is another one that we don't discuss that much, but it is very relevant with sustainable tourism to protect the assets and the nature and all the parks and the animal and the wildlife, of course.
Yeah, without that, we actually under tourism now could be one of the biggest ecological disasters in the history of the planet if we don't do something about it, right?
Absolutely. And that's why we need to protect the assets. We need to protect nature and the culture and the traditions. And that's what's so important, this public and private collaboration and also the partnership with the citizens. That's what we call PPC. The community has to be involved for this long-term plan, and sustainability has to be in the center. But it's not only sustainability from the environment, but also the culture and the social aspects, which is very related to the SDGs.
Right. What do you think that we all can do to help? Like, we have advisors here and we have a lot of partners from all kinds of different sectors of the industry from 95 countries around the world. What can we do to help our cause?
I think there are three things that you can help us. The first one is make sure that you know the impact of the country that you live and the contribution from travel and tourism. You can get that data from our website. Everything is available, and make sure that you understand that contribution. In every interaction with the government, make a point about the jobs that we create, about the contribution to the local economy, and use that as a tool. The second one is help us to educate the traveler, especially in this phase of the recovery, wearing the mask, having the protocols, make sure that you have the best information. And of course, through Virtuoso, you can get a lot of that so that you can educate the traveler. And third one is that let's work together, because this is one that is not going to be a one solution for all. Is that public and private collaboration, and the private sector is very aligned, is working very nicely together, but we need to partner with more governments so that we can move faster. So that coordinated approach, that message has to be very clear and loud with the governments. We need to be together to get out of this. If not, it's going to be very painful and it's going to take longer than expected.
Are there any, I know, I attended the XCOM meeting last week. Are there some signs of hope? What are some of the things that you're seeing that you think are the germs of progress here?
Well, we have seen a lot of progress in some countries like China, of course, because domestic is very important, 80% recover, which is impressive. And that means that they'll end the year in a very good shape. But we also have seen some cases in this part of the world, like Iceland, for instance. They have done a fantastic job containing the spread and now opening to the world, and with testing on arrival without quarantines and without lockdowns. Germany also has been doing a great job. So I think that we have some great cases out there. Greece, another example as well. And in Spain, in some areas of the country also have been doing a great job. I think what we need to understand is that how do we can work together in a coordinated effort, because unfortunately, one of the challenges of this situation with COVID is that every country is looking at their own. And even in a country, sometimes every state is looking at their own, and that coordination is missing. And the good news is that some are recovering faster, and that is providing a light at the end of the tunnel. We just need to make sure that we follow those role models so that we all can get there eventually or sooner than anticipated.
And I know that you had Dan Richards, the founder and CEO of Global Rescue, and he shared some good news about the movement of vaccines, treatments, but also he really focused on testing.
Yep.
Just recently, we're talking about a test that doesn't require a lab, could be at the point with a very low cost. I think, do you see that as a realistic situation?
Yes, there are multiple tests out there, and we work very closely with Dan. There's a saliva test that you can apply, 99% accuracy and efficacy, and you can get the results in 30 minutes. So that, for instance, if we can have that test before departure, you can isolate all the sick people and make sure that whomever is in the plane doesn't have COVID. And on top of that, wearing the mask to reduce 96% the risk, then we have it right there. The healthy people or the people without COVID can travel all over the world again without waiting for a vaccine. So testing, contact tracing has been wonderful in, as I say, in multiple countries such as Iceland, Greece, Germany, and many others. And they have been very effective using that in the recovery. Even in China, in some cases, and in Japan as well, in others. Now, and in the case of the vaccine, as Dan probably highlighted or will highlight, Oxford is way ahead, which is very impressive. A lot of people are being in the clinical trial right now, and they're hoping to have a solution by September, which is really encouraging.
Well, let's hope for all of us. Thank you so much for everything that WTTC is doing. I hope everybody goes to the site, understands what the organization does, supports it. So thank you so much, Gloria, for being here today and for everything that you and the organization is doing. Thank you so much.
And thank you for the support, Matthew. I appreciate it. You're very supportive of the sector also globally, and we appreciate your leadership as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mil gracias, Gloria. I really appreciate your insights. And now we'll hear from another of our opening session sponsors, a longtime personal family friend, a dedicated conservationist, and supporter of our network, Jeffrey Kent, founder and CEO of Abercrombie Kent.
I'm so glad to be with you all again this year. Thanks to Virtuoso's amazing ability to innovate and create the Virtual Travel Week. I want to thank Matthew Upchurch for his outstanding leadership and weekly video communications. I also want to express my sincere appreciation to each of you for your incredible partnership and support over the past 5 months. This time has only reinforced what we already knew, that you are the absolute best in the business. The travel industry has faced many challenges over the years, and at the height of each crisis, it always seems as though there is no end. But in every instance, and we have measured the storm and emerged stronger together. A&K's global network of over 55 local offices has never been more important. It was critical early in the crisis as borders were closing, and will be equally valuable as we navigate the complexities of the world as travel reopens. Over many years in the business, I have learned that crises can also create opportunities. We have used the time to adapt, designing new journeys that meet your client's need in preparation for when they are ready to travel again. Guests will look for different experiences and destinations, more outdoor adventures and open spaces, more time with family, more customization and privacy, including private air charters. All things that have always been a part of A&K's DNA ever since I founded the company in 1962, a long time ago. We opened our new USDMC in January with leadership with over 5 decades of experience, specializing in the American West and California. We've created innovative new journeys, including road trips, A&K style, and national parks by private air. Looking forward, as the rest of the world opens, places like Kenya, Egypt, and Jordan are among the first destinations to meet World Travel and Tourism Council safe travel requirements. Flexibility is the key in the new world of travel. Travel choices have never been more personal, and safety and security has never mattered more. A&K's breadth of destinations and variety of travel styles will make it easier for you to find the right journey for your clients and to make the changes if the need arises. For added reassurance, we introduced more flexible booking policies that allow cancellations for COVID-19 related reasons through 2021. On a more personal note, I've really enjoyed my time with my family here in Brazil and have been working on my personal wander list for 2021. To start, I'm looking forward to hosting A&K's first expedition through the rarely transited Northeast Passage across the Russian Arctic with my wife Ottavia in August to celebrate 30 years of A&K's small ship expedition cruising. It seems just like yesterday we started in Antarctica. We'll soon be announcing the itinerary for my next inspiring expedition by private jet, which departs in October. I'm excited for all of us to get back to the world of travel that we know and love. Manfredi and I have developed so many long-standing friendships with all of you throughout our time in this industry. We want to thank you for entrusting your most valued clients to Abercrombie Kent for nearly 6 decades. We continue to be committed to maintaining the highest standards in the industry, and our teams around the world look forward to welcoming your clients as they return to the adventures they have all been dreaming about.
Hello again, Virtuosos, and thank you, A&K, for that inspirational update and your support of the Virtuoso Network. So I'll be your presenter for our next segment, and I'm here today to share some recent and timely proprietary insights from Virtuoso. This includes survey research and also sales analysis from the Virtuoso Network. Now, we all know virtuosos are a little bit different, so let's explore what's on their minds. Let's be honest, we can't overlook the point that we've utterly missed our expectations for 2020. And while even a few months ago we had hoped everything would be returning to normal by now, but no, the world is not actually being attacked by cats with laser eyes. There are some signs of hope. Ready to dig in? Let's get going. In late June, we asked Virtuoso travelers this simple question: are you ready to travel again? The answer shouldn't come too much of a surprise, but we see interest in travel much higher for younger travelers. Travel readiness was lower with older travelers. About a quarter to a third of boomers were ready to go now, whereas a majority of Xers, millennials, and Gen Z are ready now. And to track consumer sentiment, we actually reran the study just a few weeks ago in late July and had nearly identical results. But we still wanted to dig deeper, particularly with that elusive millennial segment. So we asked a follow-up question. Would you be ready to travel again if your 77-plus-year-old relative pays for it? And the answer was nearly unanimous. Everyone's ready to go if your grandparents are paying. Well, we made that answer up. We didn't really ask that. But it may be funny. You should know that in all seriousness, Gen Z, millennials, Xers, they are the most ready to go. Even though our travel plans may not be exactly what we thought, we're all familiar with that difference between expectation and reality, right? We are seeing Virtuoso still getting out and about. So we looked at the sales data in our proprietary Virtuoso Reports database, and we saw three trends. What's going on is that we're going to look at the hotel data. It's one of our best sets of data, and expect these trends can apply to other types of travel. So the first trend, we can definitely see that the Virtuoso traveler is staying close to home. A lot closer to home, with a 20% jump in those who are staying in hotels 1,500 miles or closer. Travelers are simply not going as far. We've also seen an increase in bookings closer into travel, with less likelihood to book further in advance. For the second quarter 20, we see that there is a good size swing into bookings 2 weeks less or out, 2 weeks or less out, about a 15% increase. So there's clearly an opportunity with clients who are looking to make more last-minute trips. We're definitely also seeing that consumers are picking different experiences this year. You may know that on Virtuoso.com, preferred partner hotels can select up to 3 attributes to describe their hotel. We looked at the comparison in hotels that consumers booked in 19 versus 20, and we can see big upswings in the types of hotels sought. In some cases, more than double the growth for adventure and upticks in golf, seclusion, ski, and beach. And while there's decreases in things like city life and landmark, they're definitely related to the closures in some of our big cities like NYC, London, and Beijing. Other attributes like wellness are holding strong and here to stay, now the most overall booked attribute for Q2 2020. So now is a great time to learn more about your clients' passion points and start those conversations about what they want to do to travel now. Let's fill in some gaps in the data by asking travelers what's on their mind. So again, we surveyed Virtuoso travelers in a flash online survey this past June and July. How comfortable are they these days? We wanted to get a few insights into how travel might be changing. Guys, I said the research on travel changing, not sweatpants changing. Could we please have the actual results? Okay. We asked Virtuoso travelers where they think their next trip will be. And while you can see as of June, the majority of respondents said a short flight or domestic drive type trip. We double-checked these numbers again in July, and they were still largely the same. So in summary, we can tell you that the travel recovery is definitely closer to home, wherever your home may be, more likely to be booked closer into the travel date, and focus on different experiences like seclusion, adventure, wellness, and sport. And looking ahead, is anyone, like my friend Grumpy Cat, looking forward to the festive season? Well, it's certainly an important time for our industry and our clients who often plan far in advance to snag the best destinations and suites. Festive opportunity is what we check the data for advanced bookings compared to this same time last year. A quick look at the data says that comparatively lightly booking for the rest of the year, only 13% of the sales compared to the same time last year. And while that's not great, it does represent an opportunity. Will these folks book, and when is the right time to ask them? So we asked Virtuoso travelers in late July, would you consider traveling during the 2021 festive season? First, we can see that usually a little over half of our travelers like to travel during the festive season. And of those travelers that do travel, that half of the pie, about a third of them, they won't be traveling this year. More than another third are ready to plan a little bit later, and about a little less than a third are ready to plan right now. So match with those sales we saw on record, that's definitely an opportunity for people that are ready to plan right now. We also asked, how far are you thinking of going for festive? And it looks like there's definitely a return to at least not far-flung, but farther flung, with travelers easing into international trips, and 89% seem to be ready to get on a plane. So festive definitely represents an opportunity to get your clients traveling again. Okay, turning to cruising, it's no surprise that sales and travel sales are down for 2020, but we are seeing signs of hope for 2021. Overall, sales for cruising are pacing just 6% below the same time last year, one of our record years. Trends we're watching, river cruising is up, strong interest in ocean cruising like luxury, premium, and deluxe lines. Okay, all that said, whether your clients are planning or booking festive, cruise, or any kind of travel, I do know that one thing most virtuosos are doing is dreaming of travel. And while we can't always go exactly where we want to and exactly when we want, Virtuoso is working on a new way to partner with you and your clients to keep dreaming, whatever the view is out of their windows. It's called Virtuoso Wanderlist. Introduced virally in the Virtuoso network in May 2020, the new Wanderlist app gives clients a way to capture and share their travel dreams. What's great about Wanderlist is that it's actually part of our Insight segment now, used by thousands of travelers worldwide, because Wanderlist is capturing those travel dreams and quantifying them. We know that virtuosos dream big. So what's at the top of their list? In the top 5, we have not a lot of surprises. Recently, hot Japan and perennial favorites like France, Australia, and Italy. And since we've already seen France and Italy in the top 5, you're probably wondering who's number 1 for Wanderlist dreaming? It's South Africa. We've known for a while that experiencing a safari, the diversity of experiences, the warm people, it's a worldwide dream to experience this country. And while we can't all get there right now, know that virtuosos are dreaming of our next visit. Advisors, unlock your clients' travel dreams and get talking with Virtuoso Wanderlist. We're hoping the next few days here at Virtuoso Travel Week will provide you lots of inspiration on how to get your clients traveling again and inspired yourself. In fact, as part of the follow-up survey after the event, we'll be asking you a few questions about your own outlook on the industry and how you think things are going. They'll be a little bit more in-depth than these questions. So thank you in advance for completing that survey. And that really wraps up our insights. I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about what's going on around the industry and maybe a few laughs. Here's a quick recap. 1, remember your clients' expectations may have changed. They're going closer to home, booking closer in, and looking for different types of experiences. And younger clients may be a key to your recovery. 2, don't forget about the festive season. Now might just be the right time to reach out, and don't forget about cruise for 21. Use this week of networking ahead to get inspiration and new ideas for your clients. And 3, wherever your clients are at, consider dreaming. Wanderlist is an easy, fun way to keep your clients dreaming about travel and remembering you, their trusted Virtuoso travel advisor during these crazy times. So with that, let's move on to our next segment. And while all of us at Virtuoso certainly do wish you were here or we were there, or maybe someplace fun for all of us in between, hopefully someday soon we'll be together. But in the meantime, let's go to our dear friend and someone we wish was here, Albert Herrera, and the next segment titled, The Wish You Were Here panel. Albert, over to you.
Thank you, David, for that wonderful introduction. We speak often about the ever-changing world of luxury travel, but no crystal ball could have imagined a year like the one that we're currently having. Coming into 2020, luxury was poised to have the most successful year in record, but the global pandemic brought the world to a halt. We have spent the last several months focused on navigating through a crisis, but today I'd like to speak with you about what comes next. How do we define luxury when a high-touch business meets a no-touch world? So, please join me in welcoming our panel of experts. Fred Dixon, President and CEO of NYC & Company, Ben Trod, who's the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Four Seasons, and Hazley Smith, Vice President Marketing and Development for Brownell Travel. It's a multifaceted issue that we all face, but it really comes down to who, what, and how. Who are the travelers? What are they looking for? And how are we all going to move forward?
So today, I have great friends and guests of this panel. Fred Dixon, who is the president and CEO of NYC & Company, is my neighbor down the road, so to speak. And they've been great partners of Virtuoso since 2018. I have Hazley Smith, who is the Vice President of Marketing and Development for Brownell Travel, and they've been members of Virtuoso since 1991. Ben Trod, who is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing of Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts. And as we all know, Four Seasons, they've been partners with Virtuoso for over 25 years. So let's get the show on the road then. I'd like to start with this question, but I'd like to cover have everyone answer this. Let's start with you first, Fred. What is one thing that you are excited about your organization is doing to adapt to the changing times?
Thank you, Albert. It's great to be here with everyone. I have to tell you, I keep thinking about the old adage that, that the mother of invention is the key right now, right? So unpredictable times actually are calling for new thinking. And for me, one of the things that's most exciting is how we are going to reimagine our business as we go forward. One of the things we've seen this summer here in New York in particular is a real focus on public art and on supporting the creative community and artists in New York, because we know they're going to be key to our future, into the comeback of our city and reestablishing New York as the capital of arts and culture. So for me, it's about the change that's going to come. Instead of being fearful of change, I think we have to lean into it. I think, there are some obviously incredibly challenging times ahead, but also I think there is a lot of hope in the sense that we're going to be able to reimagine our space and think about how not only making the world a little bit more equitable as we go forward, hopefully, but also how we can lift up some of the better parts of our community. And I'm excited about the arts and culture piece in particular and the role it can play in luxury.
Thanks, Fred. Ben, on the Four Seasons front, what are you excited about?
Obviously, it's been a time of huge change and a lot of very significant disruption for the industry. And I think what we're really excited about now, honestly, is the opportunity to get back to opening hotels, running hotels, back to our core business. And of course, I think mostly for us as such an employee-focused industry, having our 40,000 employees around the world back to work, back doing what they love to do, and back making great memories for our guests. So those are exciting times for us. I think being able to do that in conjunction with an amazing partner, we entered into a consulting agreement with Johns Hopkins during this first part of the pandemic, and being able to partner with somebody like that as we redefine what luxury travel looks like in this new world is also very exciting for us. But just seeing our employees back to work, creating great memories for our guests and starting to see some of that storytelling coming back out of the industry is certainly hugely exciting for all of us at Four Seasons.
Fantastic, thank you. And Hazley, on the advisor front, what's exciting you about this?
I think there are three things that are really exciting me right now, and they're all centered on looking at our businesses from the inside out. We can't control the outside world and what happens, but what we can control is how we run our agencies, how we interact with the world, and how we develop the opportunity going forward. One thing is we need to be paid as advisors and as agencies more equitably than we have in the past. And I think now is a great time to take a look at some of those practices beyond fees that make sure that we earn for the work that we do when we do it. Another thing is we can reframe the conversation around sustainability in a new way. So the pandemic has really brought to light how dependent so many communities and cultures and people rely on tourism. So I think it's a privilege that we can really drive the industry and the traveling public to a direction to more sustainable travel. And third, we've really been focusing with two pandemics, systemic racism and COVID-19, and those two have crashed together. And this gives us an opportunity to rethink how we hire, who we invite into the conversation about travel, and elevating a lot of different voices. So I'm optimistic for the future, mainly because we have a chance to work on the inside things right now.
Fantastic, great stuff. And I'd like to cover a bit more on that later on, but I think tying in with what you just said, Hazley, here is
all three of you are from different parts of the luxury travel, so to speak, ecosystem. And we all need each other, right? We all need each other to get out of this and also be successful and help each other. As we always say, win, win, win. So how can we strengthen these partnerships? So let me start then with you, Ben, in your case.
Yeah, I think the first element of all of this process as we redefine travel to a certain extent is to establish that trust and to make sure that every single part of our guest journey, and that begins with the first thought about travel right through to the last moment of interacting with one of our partners, is a consistent experience, that we have absolute transparency about what the experience will look like and how it will be a little bit different. We want it to feel the same. We want the guests to feel the same level of engagement, but we know it will look a little bit different. So I think as a selection of partners, both from the travel industry, the destination, and the hospitality provider, we have to just be very, very clear about how the guest will operate within our environment, and frankly, how our employees will as well. We need our employees to have confidence that they can create a great guest experience. And that transparency and that trust for me is very, very important. And we obviously start with a huge amount of training, retraining our employees on operating in this new environment, but then really working very closely with our guests so they feel that they can create an experience within our properties that matches their own preferences. And we have some great tools for that. If you think about our app, for example, which gives real-time interaction with our members of staff. It's not a bot app, it's an actual human being delivering that experience right at the end of a chat function in 100 languages and with a response time of less than 2 minutes. And we use that both for the guest and for our travel industry partners to make sure that we can deliver that guest experience exactly as the guest wants it to be. And then they'll feel that level of comfort and they'll want to return to us. And hopefully we can also, to pick up a little bit on what we were talking about with Hazley, being able to transpose that experience and that business level to some of our partners in a destination. It's easy for us to focus on our own employees, but we've all been a part of creating this part of the luxury travel industry that has these fantastic experiences in a particular destination. And I feel that we also have that collective responsibility to ensure that those experiences in those destinations survive and that we don't reset the travel experience to a different level than it was before, because we still need to create those wonderful experiences to bring people back. So partnering in destination with those smaller providers, those people who've been really, really affected by some of the changes that have happened to travel patterns, sources of business, and guest type, I think is also really, really important at this time, because we want to continue to make the magic. We want our guests to really feel that full experience. And that's, as you've said, the responsibility of all of us on this call, all three elements of the travel experience.
Ben, I think you hit on something really important, and that is transparency and trust. And I think in the new environment between agencies and suppliers, transparency comes first. We are going to need to know more and understand more about our suppliers' business practices, about their financial security, about their downline suppliers that they're working with. I mean, not to mention in-depth understanding of terms and conditions. But I think only with transparency can we develop trust to move forward with really strategic partnerships.
Right. And if you think about the communication side of that, that's something we all struggled with at the beginning of the pandemic. As a guest, what's it going to look like? What am I going to get? How's it going to feel? And we created our Welcome Back portal for exactly that reason. So all of our travel industry partners, all the Virtuoso agents can go onto that portal and see exactly which restaurant is open at what time in what resort. And how's it going to feel? How's the spa going to look and feel in that particular destination? And how is my arrival experience going to look? And that Welcome Back portal was actually the result of a lot of feedback we got from the travel industry and a lot of frustration that said, how do we even know what we're getting once we sign up for a new hotel or a resort experience once it reopens? So a lot of change, but transparency and honesty, I think, is absolutely essential right now.
And then earlier you mentioned as well about destination. So we have Fred here. And Fred, you and I live in New York City. Obviously, once the epicenter, now the shining star, so to speak, touch wood. With such a changing, moving target around the world, what advice can you give us and what guidance can you give us that ties in with what Ben and Casey said, please?
Well, thank you, Albert. And I completely agree. Touch wood is the word. We're in a great spot right now in New York compared to where we've been. And I want to just touch on both what Hazley and Ben have said. I think they're absolutely right. I think transparency is going to be key as we build back. And I think the real opportunity to work on downline suppliers, as Hazley pointed out, and bringing to life more of the destination fully, I think is going to be a real opportunity. Contributing beyond just the hotel or the transportation network into the community to make sure that tourism has the most positive impact on the locals is going to be key as well. So I'm excited about that opportunity. I think our mutual commitment to public health is going to be key. Certainly in the near term here in New York, we've created the Stay Well NYC Pledge, a commitment between the public and the business community to keep each other safe. That is critical. We've proven we know how to flatten the curve here in New York, and it's upon all of us to make sure that we keep it flattened so that we can build back travel opportunities. So there are a lot of lessons to learn. I think we still have a bit to go on this journey, but we're really excited to have great partners like Virtuoso, of course, and our friends at Four Seasons and Brownell, who we've worked with for many, many years. And together, we're going to figure this out.
Thank you. All right. A lot of words that were used. For example, transparency, advocacy, trust. Trust is a very big thing in this day and age as well in all the communication. And when we had a conversation earlier, I think last week, we talked about flexibility. That was one term that was used. We know it has to be a win-win-win. So Hazley, would you like to expound a bit on that? And I'd like to hear from Ben as well in terms of what flexibility means to you and what it means to like a Four Seasons.
I think flexibility is really going to be key for all of us. We've got to be flexible working with our partners about what can and can't be done, what could be done, but now can't be done. And we really have to coach our clients to be flexible. We can, on the supplier and the agency side, set up the perfect experience, but we are living in a world of unknown. So being flexible and fluid is going to be really important.
Flexibility.
Yeah, I think it means many different things to many different parts of the industry. I think as an industry, we responded with a lot of flexibility around cancellation terms, deposit terms. We were very generous in that. And I think the generosity came from trust. We could afford to be, if you like, generous with deposits and changing dates because we trusted that our guests would come back to us both as a brand and as an industry when they were ready to travel. And I think we felt a collective sense of responsibility to keep travel intact. And by putting punitive terms and conditions to bookings, we knew that would stop people. It would provide another barrier to entry. I think the second phase, though, that we're now moving into, which is similar to flexibility, but moves into agility. And part of that is because the industry is evolving so very, very quickly. And one of the good things I think that we have seen come out of this is it's taught our industry to be a little bit more agile. We do think on our feet a little bit quicker. We are able to be a little bit more flexible. And we've got a little bit more nuance to an individual destination or an individual term that came from a government announcement, for example. And we're ready to go and we're ready to move with changes to help maintain a guest experience, for example. If one island becomes somewhere someone can't go to, we have mechanisms to move with a lot of agility. So for me, the speed and agility that's going to come out of this will serve the travel industry very well going forward, both as a cultural change, but also as a logistical impact.
Thank you. Because obviously, as I mentioned, the ecosystem, we've all worked together, right? The destination, travel agency, of course, and the hotel or a cruise line, as it may be. And the sensitivity with the term flexibility is it could be heavily tilted on one way because it has to be a win-win-win. And we all know for a fact that sometimes you have hard costs to maintain, right? In terms of staffing levels and whatever it may be, and how you can all work together and not expect someone to bear the burden of that cost. So it's a delicate balance across all, but we need to make sure that it is exactly what we're driving through in the big word of partnership as we have here. So we have a few more minutes here, but I'd like to ask here is, it's a tough road ahead, we're in it, living it, and we don't know when this tough road will sort of lighten up, so to speak. But the one thing that I think we're all in agreement on is that travel will be back. And I see will as in capital, bold, highlighting it will be back, and luxury will lead the way. So how do you see that path forward? Let me start with you, Hazley.
I've never been more certain about anything that travel will be back. And I agree that luxury will lead the way. And that's not only a great responsibility, but it's a great privilege. And I see our path forward as working more strategically with our partners and really taking a look at, really specific partnerships and groups of partnerships and not spreading our business across so many. because that's going to allow us to work together more flexibly and more fluidly because things are going to change. I think what has definitely changed is the sales cycle. It is not going to be what it was even when travel does recover. So the big F word, flexibility, is going to be paramount.
All right. Let's see, Fred, any words of wisdom for us, please?
I mean, Hazley, I think, has hit the nail on the head quite well. I think flexibility is going to be key. And I agree with her. I have no doubt in my mind travel is going to return. Luxury and leisure travel are going to lead the way. And I think set the example, actually. You know, I mean, I'm looking actually to Virtuoso as a real partner in this recovery, because I think you have an immense opportunity here to show others how to return not only successfully, but sustainably and equitably. And I'm really looking forward to working with all of our partners here to make that happen. We have exciting days ahead. We have to get there. We're going to rebuild this beach one grain of sand at a time, as someone has often said. But we're in this together, and we look forward to the recovery period.
Ben?
There are great times ahead. There's no doubt there's a huge amount of pent-up demand for travel. It's a case of us as an industry and as partners with Virtuoso, with our different suppliers, with the destinations, really harnessing that and making sure that in the short term, in the short and maybe medium term, we can support those parts of that chain that perhaps are struggling a little bit as we start to sort of work out what this new normal looks like. But we do know there's a lot of insight and analytics now that goes into travel, and strategically we can see things like a resident is a hugely in-demand opportunity for us. So can the industry pivot a little bit more flexibly into that side of it? We're very fortunate. We have about 750 managed residences around the world. So we're pivoting more towards that world. Demographics are changing. So it's going to tax us. It's going to be an interesting opportunity for us to show our sales and marketing skills, I think, as we start to see how do we get to these new customers. Everybody's going to be fighting for new customer acquisition. Every travel industry partner of ours is going to be fighting for that. We obviously want those as well. So can we partner together to bring more people into the luxury space? And when they come into the luxury space, can we work together to make sure that they stay engaged in this type of travel, and hopefully find really partnership level communication to grow their reach, if you like, into new destinations, and hopefully to support a more diverse group of partners, as Hazley says, and diverse across every spectrum that we look at.
And you know what? You bring up a good one, diverse. That's a great one as well, because Fred, was it last year that all of the billboards or the phone booths that have billboards promoted that tourism was the #1 employer in New York City, right? And I think it still will be as we get out of this.
Absolutely.
And the point I want to make across all, maybe a hotel, a destination, or a travel agency, is that we inspire people. This is a career for many, many people out there. And we want to make sure that there is hope, that we are helping everyone in this industry recover and maintain whatever it is, a level of stability, and just to look toward the future, that it is a career to look forward to, right? And that's what we would need, along with all the challenges that we have ahead of us, but it is a bright future ahead of all of us.
And there could be a wonderful talent acquisition opportunity for us across the travel industry and the hospitality side of where we are with so much disruption. And I do also see that as a great opportunity, Albert. Quite agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we should challenge ourselves actually to that point, to meet that goal. I think that's a great legacy we all could leave behind.
And in closing, Hazley, words of wisdom for everyone, please.
When the world is open to us, there's no shutting it down. No pandemic can do it. So we'll all be together again. We will all be traveling again. And luxury is going to lead the way. Every bit of research says that it's the first segment to come back. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I look forward to seeing all of you there.
And thank you, everyone. And with that said, there is a lot on the agenda for today. From the other panels that we have that are upcoming at today's hour, so to speak, the opening session. But more importantly, for all of you who are dialed in, please don't forget as well to join us for the closing session on Thursday. And you'll have our keynote speaker, as well as other surprises in store. With that said, thank you, Ben, Fred, and Hazley for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Albert.
I cannot wait until the day that we can all get together in person and celebrate a glass of wine or 2 or 3 or even a case. It is on me. But for now, I would like to thank another one of our great partners who are sponsoring this opening session. Here's a word from our friends at One and Only.
Welcome. I'm thrilled to be back at Travel Week, albeit under very different circumstances, with our portfolio of One and Only resorts, and to introduce Atlantis the Royal. I have to confess, Travel Week is one of my favourite events of the year, because we get to come together as an industry, and I'm able to connect with each and every one of you. There's a well-known saying that life can only be understood backwards, but must be lived forwards. And so I'd like to talk not about the challenges we're facing, but about living forwards, creating a new future, a future of opportunity that we can work on together. First, I'm thrilled to introduce you to One and Only Mandarina, our spectacular new villa-only resort in Mexico, just 30 minutes north of Punta Mita. We'll begin welcoming guests on the 1st of November. Celebrating the destination, we express the brand through a design that is considered and crafted through its footprint, and also space to reconnect with loved ones, but also yourself in a true sanctuary. Every treehouse and villa has its own private plunge pool and is designed to frame incredible views over the Pacific Ocean, jungle, and mountains, with expansive indoor and outdoor living space that blends with nature. Relish the flavors of modern Mexico with exceptional resort dining curated by a world-class chef. One and Only Mandarina will offer extensive outdoor adventure with guests immersing themselves in wilderness, exploring a myriad of nature trails, encountering wonders of the resident farm and a world-class polo club. Guests can take to the ocean, spotting whales, swimming and indulging in fun water sports, or paddle up the winding estuary, observing native flora, fauna, and hundreds of birds. When it comes to unwind, the spa offers naturally inspired healing in a pure alfresco seclusion. With spacious standalone sanctuaries, striking resort spaces, incredible dining, and a world of activities for every individual, your guests will feel inspired and nurtured every step of the way. Secondly, I'm delighted to confirm we are now welcoming guests back to our jewel in the crown, One and Only Rithira in the Maldives. The ultimate island, offering extraordinary space and privacy. You don't have to leave the comfort of your villa, either perched above the Indian Ocean or nestled on your own private beach. In fact, Idris Elba, actor, producer, DJ'd our New Year's Eve party on the beach, a surprise for our guests that embodied the life and energy that One and Only is known for. The perfect place to relax and recharge on one of the largest private islands in the Maldives. Since we were together last year, we've also opened One and Only Gorilla's Nest, our second property in Rwanda, which was quickly selected for Condé Nast Traveler's 2020 hot list. The US is already one of our key markets, and the resort is the perfect complement to One and Only Nyungwe House, offering the best of primates, as well as recent sightings of both buffaloes and elephants in the nearby national park. Rwanda now offers the Big Five, so a truly remarkable country where one could discover the best Mother Nature has to offer. Easy access and safety make Rwanda the ultimate destination for discovery. Together, we can now make that once-in-a-lifetime personal journey possible for our luxury guests. And finally, our most hotly anticipated opening is nearing completion. Having been part of the team that brought you Atlantis to Palm, I can confidently tell you there is nothing like this around the world. An awe-inspiring addition to the coastline of the Palm and the skyline of Dubai. The next generation of distinctive luxury, offering a sophisticated lifestyle experience, edgier than any resort in the region, with infinite ocean views encapsulated in dramatic architecture. We're proud to have the most celebrity chefs under one roof. Cuisine will range from Jose Andres to Gaston Acurio to Heston Blumenthal and to Hakkasan. All elements will be at play here, from dramatic fire and water to wide open green sanctuaries. If I can finish with another quote, Eleanor Roosevelt said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." As you can see, we have not stopped dreaming. The world is a beautiful place, and we need to continue to dream today and travel tomorrow. We also believe in you, and thank you for your belief in us and the entire hospitality industry. Together, we will create a beautiful future.
Well, thank you to Brad and One and Only for helping make this week possible. We sure appreciate it. Wow, there's been so much great information already, and that leads us to the person we've all been waiting to hear from, Matthew Upchurch. Now, this sounds interesting. He's here to share how letting go of the future can create resilience and accelerate transformation in uncertain times. Please welcome Virtuoso's Chairman and CEO, Matthew Upchurch.
Hello, Virtuoso family. Last August, we were sharing that heart energy that bonds us together when we're face to face. I remember so clearly the energy, the relationships, connections that now provide us with resilience during these difficult and uncertain days. Now, given all the time zones involved, Zoom fatigue, and financial pressures, it's truly heartening to see your continued passion for human connection. And it's very real professional value. So thank you for being here. Now, I want to acknowledge and honor all of our colleagues who have been laid off, furloughed, or had their incomes devastated by this great travel depression. I know we all feel an unshakable sense of loss and a responsibility to do all we can to foster a recovery. Now think about it. Last year, one of the hottest topics was over-tourism and how our industry was outpacing global GDP. Growth driven by the rise of affluence around the world, the desire of all generations to travel like never before, the longevity revolution, which extended the ability to travel, the shift from goods to experiences, and the independent Chinese luxury traveler. During the great financial crisis of 2008, some questioned our value. But our trademark Return on Life campaign focused on the importance of our work, and it lifted our spirits, knowing we made a positive impact on travelers' lives. Now for me, that feeling was amplified during my travels after last year's Virtuoso Travel Week. It started in London, where we received the World Travel Award at WTM for our network's decade-long efforts to promote sustainable travel. Now, I won't go into a travelogue, even though I really am missing travel. But after London, I flew to Shanghai to spend time with our new team, open a small office, and break bread with our Chinese members. Then came Bangkok for Chairman's, the city where my Virtuoso career was launched. And on closing night, I struggled to hold back the tears, thinking about my father and how he would have loved seeing us all there, having accomplished so much together. By the end of 2019, I'd only been home a few days within a 45-day window. And frankly, as energizing as it was time to regroup. So Jessica and I decided to spend the holidays somewhere we don't visit much, our couch. We paused to reflect on a decade lived and the one about to unfold, to gain clarity in what we wanted for ourselves, our family, our Virtuoso community, and the world. And when the new year came, on my first drive to the office, I saw an Amazon bus with the words, "Less conversation, more action." It turned out to be just the reminder I needed. Jeff Bezos has his path. And yes, undoubtedly, Amazon is a juggernaut. But that moment reaffirmed for me that Amazon's path is not ours. We're on our own path, one where meaningful conversation leads to purposeful action. And as I thought about the year ahead, a question came to me. Are you really supposed to try to figure out the future? Of course, it's a silly question. No one can know the future. But we humans have an insatiable desire for certainty, when really, we're better off focusing on clarity. To gain that clarity and ground myself, I revisited our key messages from last year. At Symposium in Melbourne, we took the position that travel advisors are not intermediaries, but part of a smart consumer strategy. That online and direct sales strategies should not destroy advisors' credibility if travel providers don't want to just sell on price. At Virtuoso Travel Week, we said the only way to compete with ever-encroaching technology was to be more human, to fight algorithms with the rhythm of the heart and to leverage technologies that helps us be more human. One specific recommendation was using more video conferencing. Well, I guess we can check that off the box. At January's US-Canada Forum, we reminded ourselves that our future will be determined by one person, the customer. The customer that values collaboration, particularly with a trusted advisor. But how to land and delight those clients is evolving, with change that continues to accelerate. Think about it. Today's pace of change is the slowest it will ever be. To reach our potential, we needed to upgrade what I called our human-centric operating system. In 2019, we made a plan to reorganize the Virtuoso team structure, aiming for faster adaptability. But making big changes is challenging, especially when things are going well. That resistance is only human. And things were going well. A fantastic forum, early signs pointing to a strong 2020, but our team and membership in China had been updating us on the emerging virus issue. On the final day of forum, the stock market dropped 600 points due to fear of COVID-19. Before I left forum, I wondered out loud, could we handle a self-imposed disruption and still maneuver through a potential crisis? Now, of course, I was thinking crisis with a little c, not what we're living in today. Now, luckily, I had scheduled a weekend with my life coach, Bob, and I asked him directly, do you think we should go through with this major self-imposed change to the company at the same time that we might be having to maneuver a crisis? He asked me a simple question in return. Are any of the reasons you wanted to change no longer valid because of a potential crisis? My reply was nearly instant, and it literally felt like it just arose from within me. No. No. In fact, the crisis only made the reasons for change even more important. Of course, shortly after that, change was thrust upon us, fast and furious. For me, it started with my video in late February, where I had to announce one of the most difficult decisions of my career, the postponement of Symposium. Then came the Italian lockdown, the laying up of the cruise industry, and waves of rifts, and it hasn't stopped since. And as the days felt like weeks and the weeks felt like months, one day I read a CEO poll with this open-ended question. What's the one thing this crisis has taught you? There were 4 answers. The meaning of the word essential, working from home works, leadership and values matter always, but especially in a crisis. But the one that grabbed me the most was a business cannot wait for the transformation it knows it needs. And I'd say that goes for us personally as well. We all have visions of what we believe we need to do and how we need to evolve. But how do you do that in such fluid times? Well, I'm a big believer in the power of frameworks as an antidote to fear, because fear limits creativity. A framework helps us focus on what we want rather than worrying about what we don't want. We use the Table Group's playbook as our framework to help us ask and answer critical questions, especially what's most important right now. Our playbook coming into 2020 focused on transformation, aiming for greater and faster adaptability. Transformation to better leverage unique abilities and implement a whole new level of digital transformation. But with this crisis upon us, we need to make incredibly difficult decisions to lengthen our financial runway while travel recovers, which we have done painfully, just like you all. Our playbook's crisis plan prioritized communication and support, helping the network through one-to-one and one-to-many interactions, town halls, collaboration teams, the crisis toolkit, and leveraging our network strength collaboration. We've been challenged by our Black members, partners, and clients to do better at diversity, inclusion, and to be more attuned to their unique voices. We have a lot to do as a company and as an industry. We've taken up this call to action, and we are forming a new Black diversity and inclusion leadership group to advise Virtuoso and our network on what we must do and how we can move forward. We are still learning, but we are still committed and very committed to taking action. I've always been proud of our commitment to continuous learning. So our professional development has been ramped up to address immediate needs from crisis handling to financial planning to risk management. We updated consumer messaging around the dream, experience, and memories framework to help us respectfully talk travel and feed traveler pent-up demand with the incredible support of our partners. And with our crisis plan in place, we could invest in some key priorities to shape our future. Balancing survival activities while choosing investment priorities can be very stressful. One worries about making mistakes you can't afford. Very real. And I'm with you. But one thing that has given me comfort is knowing you won't be right every time. But the key is to move forward, learning and adjusting, taking the next step, the step that's connected to your intuition of what could be. What could be if you had the time? What could be if you weren't afraid of failure? What could be if you had the resources? But see, resources aren't just what you have. It's what you haven't yet discovered. Our next steps are focusing on 3 key areas: consumer engagement, network engagement, and the modernizing of the shared value of our partnerships with member agencies, affiliate advisors, and preferred partners alike. This global lockdown is the greatest disruption the industry has ever faced. And disruptions accelerate trends, which we are seeing in digital interaction. Professor Scott Galway of NYU reported that digital commerce went from 10% rise over a decade to 10% rise in a year to a 10% rise in the first 8 weeks of this lockdown. Zoom went from a little-known up-and-coming tech company to a verb in a matter of 8 weeks. This disruption has made the e-commerce giants even more powerful, but it's also spawned innovations that enable businesses of any size to better interact with their customers digitally. However, we don't believe print is dead. We believe there's a great opportunity in combining the best of print and digital to innovate prospecting and client engagement. We're combining the strengths of Virtuoso Life with a new Virtuoso.com and Wanderlist into a unified suite of print and digital consumer engagement products. Great content is a key to gaining consumer credibility, and the award-winning content of Virtuoso Life will be leveraged in print and digital through that newly designed Virtuoso.com. Virtuoso Life converts luxury sales for specific demographic sets, and the redesign of Virtuoso.com is focused on growing our reach through leveraging engaging content and digital interactivity. 2 new areas on Virtuoso.com will be destinations and inspirations, designed to drive consumer demand for curation of both where to go and what to do the Virtuoso way. Turning the dreaming stage into interactive consumer engagement is one of our greatest opportunities to combine the best of digital with the human touch. Wanderlist is now a free digital social site for travel dreaming, using visualization to make it fun, easy, and interactive. It enhances the advisor's ability to inspire clients and orchestrate their dreams. During this historic travel pause, we know consumer preferences and risk tolerances have shifted. Wanderlist is a tool to help stimulate pent-up demand, gather aspirational demand, and help innovate client interaction. Here's some recent examples of how your fellow advisors are using Wanderlist. Amanda Klimek used it as a call to action for a virtual client event. Sandra Ortiz sent it to reconnect with clients. 5 of them emailed her back nearly instantly to check on her. Mark Murray had a client call about a trip to Japan, and he sent it as a fun way to dream and explore ideas before drafting an itinerary. And Candace Stearns sent out an invitation to join OneList to a list of 800 mostly prospects. Over 100 clicked on the link, a more than 12% conversion versus the average 2.5%. And remember, Wanderlist gives users the ability to invite anyone with an email to join them in dreaming, making it an exponential referral tool, your #1 source of clients. So advisors, just play with it, have fun with friends and family, and invite clients to dream now. It's also a good reminder that you get out of Virtuoso what you put into it, but we know it is our job to continuously make it easier, more efficient, and effective for you. Creating a defined path of measurable success is the goal of our community framework. It seeks to configure our products to the various stages of an advisor's development and needs to provide advisors and partners a greater return on investment. We are applying those lessons more broadly going forward. For example, with training and professional development, we're grouping courses into development stages and learning paths with material that's more timely and impactful and diverse, like the robust lineup for this VTW. Which brings me to our most important network engagement activity and the reason 4,000 of you signed up for this virtual VTW, networking. About 5 years ago, I was sharing a cocktail with Simon Sinek talking about social media. He said, for me, it's really simple. Social media isn't where you find real friends, but it's where you can stay connected to the ones who are. I feel the same way about virtual events. They are the best way to come together right now to tap into the valuable friendships and partnerships we have built with each other and their professional value. When we piloted our smaller virtual events a few months ago, many of you shared your doubts about attending what sounded like a 4-hour Zoom call. But our team, in collaboration with you, our advisors and partners, delivered a truly innovative virtual event format that received some of the best scores of any event in our history, be it physical or virtual. We will return to face-to-face events, but I think the future will be a mix of virtual and physical, and we're excited about those possibilities. In fact, a few weeks ago, I had a glimpse into the future. As a Virgin Galactic client, I got to experience the reveal of the spaceship cabin using Oculus Rift virtual reality goggles. It blew me away. I literally got to walk around the cabin, step out of the spaceship, look into the vastness of space and the brightness of Earth. But you know what? That virtual experience made me want to go even more. But back to the realities of Earth. We must work together on policies to rebuild traveler confidence and assist members and their advisors with cash flow. I want to thank all the partners that have already taken meaningful action on this very important issue. Call me biased, and I know our partner representatives joining us know this, but sometimes maybe your investors, CFOs, and others might not be convinced. But in a more complicated world, let me be the one to say, I believe the role of advisors will be even more important. I also want to thank advisors for supporting partners all over the world through close-to-home sales and obtaining further out bookings using those client-friendly cancellation policies. We believe luxury and purposeful travelers will be amongst the first to usher in a recovery, and they will value their relationship with a trusted advisor more than ever. They will rely on advisors not to guarantee everything, but to help them make informed choices based on their personal risk tolerances. Advisors, your best clients want you to make it through this and thrive. Many of you have shared amazing stories of support from your best clients. Now is the time to ask them to introduce you to great referrals, people like them. We see more and more of you exploring, testing, and expanding new compensation models, updated fee structures, retainers, and more. I encourage you to keep doing so. Seth Godin, a thought leader I admire, said this recently about competing with online giants. The key is to be local, creative, energetic, optimistic, trusted, innovative, and hard to replace. And that's what you do. Maybe that's why TripAdvisor has also started promoting advisors. It's clear that this crisis is still deep, painful, and uncertain. And we need to continue to do all we can to get through it financially, strategically, and emotionally. Like what often happens when traveling, we're on an unexpected detour on our journey to the future. At our Millennial Summit in January, I shared a moving TEDx talk by April Ryan. I highly recommend it. She spoke about her future being instantly changed and how we often talk about letting go of the past. But what about letting go of the future? Letting go of the future. That made me stop and think. Letting go of the future is not giving up or being passive. It is letting resilience in and room for transformation. Which takes me back 20 years ago to one of our biggest transformations, the birth of the Virtuoso brand. I clearly remember dreaming back then. Perhaps someday the clients will also feel that they are virtuosos, transforming clients into advocates for our members, their advisors, and our partners. That's why one of the most uplifting experiences of the past several months began with a wonderful email I received on a Sunday morning from Carolyn Snell, a very kind advisor. She told me about a Zoom call she'd had with one of her very best clients to catch up, remember, and dream. And while they were talking, Carolyn's client, Savannah, thanked her for sending Virtuoso Life and told Carolyn that every time she opened it up, it made her feel part of something special. Now you can imagine how delighted I was to hear this. I asked Carolyn, hey, do you think I could meet Savannah and thank her? Well, the three of us had a fun Zoom call. And when I shared our origin story and our focus on human connection, it made Savannah even more enthusiastic about Carolyn, our partners, and what we stand for. Now, I don't get to talk to your clients often, so experiencing this was truly energizing. So thank you, Carolyn and Savannah. The whole reason we created the Virtuoso brand was to shine a light on the value of connected advisors and partners, delivering transformative experiences supported by genuine human connection. That's you. The people who have inspired me over the last 34 years and have provided me with a life full of purpose. Together we are resilient, we will transform, and we will be ready for a new world in travel. Thank you. And as we look to the future together, let's hear what some of you have to say about that topic in your own words.
We were so ready for the perfect
Coming up on the
season,
virus, the
but
climbing
everything
COVID-19
just got
caseload puts
messed up.
authorities on edge.
I worry about financials and how I'm going to continue to pay the bills.
Major hit during this pandemic, and just
That
as
there'll be further damage to the travel, the events.
being cancelled on the back
well-being of my supportive team in these really uncertain times is what keeps me
Stay at
up
home
night.
and protect lives. That's the clear warning.
Definitely am Zooming and WebExing more than ever before.
I miss that experience of seeing something new that I've always read about.
Going in the airport, getting on a flight.
Thrill and challenge, putting a client's itinerary together and putting in those wow factors.
It is simple things like a shared meal that I miss the most.
Going to Virtuoso Symposium, going to Virtuoso Travel Week, being able to hug each one of you.
What makes me most hopeful? The daily news bulletins announcing that a company somewhere has had success with developing a vaccine for this dreadful virus.
We think positive.
And we will travel again.
There is a strong desire to travel, a desire to explore.
We all could have given up a long time ago and we didn't. We're still here. That's all of you travel advisors. There's no quit in you.
This was a great opportunity to pause, rethink, reimagine how we can add agility in the way we run our businesses.
My team and their dedication. They've been so amazing in organising refunds, giving advice, making sure we do the right thing by our clients.
We decided to reopen the hotel. We started from scratch this year, so it was like opening a hotel from nothing.
We really have to step up our game to become the professional company we should have been in the first place.
As leaders in the travel industry, it is our job to give clients peace of mind when they do decide to travel.
There will be fewer destinations visited on a long-haul trip, with longer stays and deeper immersions.
We've talked about travel with purpose and sustainable tourism and being able to have travel that has a higher meaning, that higher purpose, that it's not just about a transaction.
Domestic travel is the hot spot for this year and probably into next summer. Dude ranches, private villas, yacht charters, all of it.
We have to do a lot of things that have to do with domestic travel, something we were not used to because we have very little domestic travel in a small country, but with the right approach and some good initiatives.
People are becoming more sensitive to our environment and our overall planet. And because of this, I've seen an increased interest in wellness and sustainability.
Our clients are wanting to spend a lot more time outdoors. They are more interested in exploring places in the United States that have a lot to offer as far as hiking and fishing and swimming and horseback riding and all of these activities that they can do with their families.
Even though psychology is negative, people do want to travel, so as soon as psychology changes, people will start traveling again.
Intensive use of technology. It will continue to change and dramatically modify the way that we travel.
We will see increasing demand for more meaningful and nature-based travel. Places that naturally lend themselves to social distancing. I also think we will be more cognizant of the impact of travel and that travellers will be keen to seek out opportunities to leave a positive impact on the communities and destinations they visit.
Confidence and the care, which is exactly what our amazing travel advisors provide. The care to the customer, knowing that they can feel confident that what they're doing is going to feel safe and be flexible.
There's all sorts of experiences all over the world waiting for us.
From the Dominican Republic, a huge COVID case. Mwah!
Bisous.
From Santorini, Greece.
To all my Virtuoso friends.
Virtuoso family, this one's for you.
Kisses to all.
Thank you, Virtuoso, for helping us through. We love you.
And my personal wish is to get to see you all very, very soon in some parts of this beautiful world. Bye-bye.
One last tip, when you are in a Zoom meeting, for God's sake, wear pants.
Wow, that was really interesting, and what an excellent way to kick off our very first virtual Virtuoso Travel Week, Virtuoso. And there's a lot more to come over the next 3 days, so stay tuned. Some highlights ahead. Later today, be sure to join our Under One Sky session with Jessica Upchurch. And you'll love our fantastic closing speaker on Thursday, Sheila Johnson. Do not miss her. Thanks, Virtuoso, so much for joining us, and I hope you've enjoyed this time together as much as I have. We're glad you're a part of Virtuoso Travel Week. Cheers.
Good afternoon to our friends and family with Virtuoso. My name is Anton Nicodemus. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and President of all of MGM Resorts Las Vegas properties and the Bellagio Resort and Casino. I stand in front of our Bellagio fountains in sunny Las Vegas to wish you an incredible virtual Virtuoso week. For all of the teammates and family here at Bellagio, as well as our company, we look forward to seeing you back in 2021. Thank you, and have a great week.